The courtroom doors opened at exactly 11:02 a.m., and 29-year-old Sarah Mitchell stepped inside. She wore a simple blouse and modest slacks, nothing flashy, nothing designed to draw attention. She moved cautiously, as if she were still learning how to trust her own body again. In her hands, she carried a thick folder packed with medical records, treatment summaries, and membership documents. Her face revealed a kind of exhaustion that doesn't come from lack of sleep, but from surviving something that no one her age should ever have to endure. Across the room sat Derek Vaughn, the owner of Elite Fitness Providence. He was dressed in an expensive Lululemon tracksuit that likely cost more than many families spend on groceries in a month, paired with designer sneakers worth several $100s. He leaned back in his chair, scrolling through his phone with obvious irritation, his body language making it clear that he felt this court appearance was a waste of his valuable time. Before anyone fully understood what would unfold in that courtroom, the bailiff called for attention. Sarah Mitchell versus Elite Fitness Providence. Civil matter. Membership contract dispute and refund claim in the amount of $2,400. Judge Frank Caprio looked up from the case file. With 37 years on the bench, he had developed an instinct for when a case was about more than money. His eyes moved from Sarah to Vaughn, and something in his expression changed. "Ms. Mitchell," he said calmly, "please approach the bench." "Mr. Vaughn, you as well." Sarah stepped forward with quiet dignity, clutching her folder. Derek Vaughn followed, his impatience barely concealed. "Ms. Mitchell," Judge Caprio began, "you are requesting a refund of $2,400. Can you explain to the court what happened?" Sarah took a breath. Her voice was steady, but emotion lingered just beneath the surface. "Your Honor, I'd been a member of Elite Fitness for 2 years. In January, I paid $2,400 for an annual membership, $200 per month. In March, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I went through surgery, chemotherapy, and radiation. Throughout my recovery, my doctors encouraged me to stay physically active. The gym became an important part of rebuilding my strength." "When did the issue arise?" Caprio asked. "On October 15th, Sarah said. I was in the women's locker room after a workout, changing clothes. Another member saw my surgical scars and reported me to management. The next day, Mr. Vaughn called me and told me my membership was terminated effective immediately." Judge Caprio slowly turned toward Derek Vaughn. "Mr. Vaughn," he said, "you terminated Ms. Mitchell's membership. Why?" Vaughn spoke casually, as though explaining a routine business decision. "Your Honor, Elite Fitness is a premium facility. Our members pay top dollar for a certain experience and atmosphere. We have standards. When multiple members complained that Ms. Mitchell's appearance made them uncomfortable, I had to act in the interest of the majority." The courtroom fell silent. Even the court reporter paused, momentarily stunned. Judge Caprio leaned forward slightly. "Let me be clear. You terminated her membership because other members were uncomfortable seeing surgical scars from cancer treatment?" "It's not personal," Vaughn replied quickly. "It's about maintaining the premium environment our clients expect. We have a dress code and presentation standards." "Her condition?" Caprio repeated slowly. "Yes. Her condition," Vaughn said. "The scars are visible and disturbing to some members. Several women complained. I run a business. I respond to customer feedback." Sarah's hands trembled as she opened her folder and removed a printed email. "Your Honor," she said softly, "this is the message Mr. Vaughn sent me." Judge Caprio read aloud. "Elite Fitness maintains strict aesthetic standards. Your visible scarring violates our member appearance policies. Your membership is terminated effective immediately. No refunds will be issued." The judge's jaw tightened. "Mr. Vaughn," Caprio said, "you have appearance policies for a gym, a place people attend specifically to improve their health?" "We're not a regular gym," Vaughn replied. "We're an elite fitness club. Our members are executives, professionals, influencers. They expect a certain environment. An environment free of cancer survivors?" Caprio asked sharply. "I didn't say that," Vaughn replied. "I said free of things that make other members uncomfortable. I didn't create the complaints. I'm simply responding to them." Sarah's voice cracked. "Your Honor, I never exposed my scars publicly. I wore appropriate workout clothing. The only place anyone could see them was in the locker room, where women are expected to change clothes privately." Judge Caprio looked at her gently. "Ms. Mitchell, what are these scars from?" "I had a double mastectomy, Your Honor," she said. "I've had reconstruction surgery, but the scars are still visible. They'll fade over time. I'm not ashamed of them. They're proof that I survived." The courtroom remained silent, heavy with the weight of her words. Survived. But I wasn't displaying my scars or drawing attention to them. I was simply changing my clothes, doing exactly what every other woman in that locker room was doing. Before the courtroom could fully absorb her words, the familiar narration returned. If Judge Caprio's compassion moves you the way it has moved millions across the world, please support our growing channel by subscribing and liking this video. Every single subscription helps us continue sharing stories where justice and humanity collide. Judge Caprio turned his attention back to Derek Vaughn, his expression firm and unyielding. Mr. Vaughn, he said, breast cancer affects 1 out of every 8 women. Your gym has many female members, does it not? Yes, Your Honor, Vaughn replied. So let me ask you this, Caprio continued. If another woman at your gym develops cancer, undergoes surgery, and is left with scars, will you ban her too? That's a hypothetical, Vaughn said quickly. It is not hypothetical for Ms. Mitchell, Caprio shot back. She was diagnosed with cancer at 29 years old. She underwent surgery to save her life. Her doctors encouraged her to exercise as part of her recovery. She continued using your gym to heal. And you banned her for surviving. I banned her because other members complained, Vaughn insisted. I have a business to protect. What about the dress code violation you mentioned? Caprio asked. Vaughn reached into his briefcase and pulled out a laminated card. Elite fitness members agree to maintain an appropriate and aesthetically pleasing appearance at all times. It's clearly stated in the membership agreement, Section 12. Sarah spoke softly, her voice shaking. Your Honor, I read that contract when I joined. I believed it meant wearing proper workout attire, being respectful, not dressing inappropriately. I never imagined it meant my cancer scars would make me unacceptable. Judge Caprio took the contract and read it carefully. Mr. Vaughn, he said, this clause references clean athletic clothing and proper footwear. There is nothing here about medical scars or bodies altered by surgery. It's implied, Vaughn replied defensively. The spirit of the clause is to maintain standards. The spirit of the clause, Caprio corrected, is to prevent people from working out in street clothes or inappropriate attire. It is not a license to discriminate against cancer survivors. Vaughn's tone hardened. Your Honor, I genuinely sympathize with Ms. Mitchell's medical situation. But I run a premium business. My members pay premium prices for a premium experience. If I allow things that make them uncomfortable, they'll cancel. I'll lose revenue. This isn't personal. It's economics. You're referring to a woman's cancer scars as things, Caprio said coldly. I'm referring to a business consideration, Vaughn replied. People come to the gym to feel good. To feel strong. When they see severe scarring, it reminds them of illness, pain, mortality. That's not the atmosphere we're trying to create at Elite Fitness. Our brand is strength, beauty, vitality. Ms. Mitchell's scars don't align with that image. The courtroom erupted in gasps and angry murmurs. Sarah broke down completely, tears streaming down her face. Judge Caprio stood from the bench, something he rarely did. His voice carried a controlled fury that silenced the room instantly. Mr. Vaughn, he said, in my 37 years on this bench, I have heard many heartless and cruel statements. But what you just said, reducing a cancer survivor's body to a branding problem, is among the most disgusting things I have ever heard in this courtroom. Your Honor, I'm just being honest about business reality, Vaughn replied. No, Caprio snapped. You are being honest about your complete lack of humanity. Ms. Mitchell did not choose cancer. She did not choose to lose parts of her body. She chose to fight. She chose to survive. And you punished her for surviving because her scars didn't fit your so-called vibe. I'm not punishing anyone, Vaughn protested. I'm running a business. You absolutely punished her, Caprio said sharply. You took her $2,400 and threw her out when she needed that gym the most, during cancer recovery, when physical activity was part of her healing. Vaughn tried to speak again, but Caprio cut him off. Let me tell you what those scars represent, Mr. Vaughn. They represent courage. They represent resilience. They represent a 29-year-old woman who faced one of the hardest battles a human being can face and survived. Those scars are not violations of your aesthetic standards. They are medals of honor. Sarah sobbed openly now, but these were tears of validation. Someone finally saw her, and do you know what your actions represent? Caprio continued. Discrimination. Cruelty. A shallow, image-obsessed mindset that treats people as commodities instead of human beings. With all due respect, Your Honor, Vaughn said weakly, I have the right to run my business as I see fit. And you have obligations under the Americans with Disabilities Act, Caprio replied. Cancer survivors are protected under federal disability discrimination law. What you did is not only morally reprehensible, it is illegal. Vaughn's face drained of color. I didn't think of it as disability discrimination, he murmured. Of course you didn't think, Judge Caprio said, his voice steady but sharp. You didn't think of Ms. Mitchell as a person. You thought of her as a threat to your brand. Here's what's going to happen now. The courtroom fell completely silent. First, Caprio continued, you will refund Ms. Mitchell's full $2,400 immediately. Not in installments, not in gym credits, actual money transferred within 7 days. Vaughn's jaw dropped. $2,400, he stammered. That's absurd. What's absurd, Caprio said firmly, is that a cancer survivor had to come to court to get justice from someone who should have shown compassion. Second, the judge went on, you will pay Ms. Mitchell $15,000 in compensatory damages for the emotional distress, humiliation, and discrimination she suffered under your policies. Vaughn tried to protest. $15,000? That's insane. No, Caprio said, his tone leaving no room for argument. It's justice. A recognition that you took her dignity, her safe space for recovery, her sense of belonging, and treated her like a problem to be eliminated rather than a person to be respected. Third, Caprio added, you will complete mandatory anti-discrimination training with a certified disability rights organization. You will learn why what you did was wrong, and you will learn how to operate your business within the law. I run a gym, not a civil rights organization, Vaughn muttered weakly, and that is precisely why you needed this training, Caprio replied. Finally, I am referring this case to the Rhode Island Commission for Human Rights. They will investigate and determine whether further penalties or remedial measures are warranted. You cannot destroy my business over one complaint, but you did destroy Ms. Mitchell's safe space, her ability to recover, her basic human dignity. That is unacceptable. If your business cannot survive treating people with decency, perhaps it does not deserve to survive. The gavel struck, signaling the end of the hearing. Sarah approached the bench, her hands trembling. Your Honor, thank you, she whispered. I felt so ashamed. So ugly. So broken. But, hearing you say my scars are medals of honor, her voice broke, tears welling in her eyes. Judge Caprio placed a gentle hand over hers. Sarah, you survived cancer at 29. You fought through surgery, chemotherapy, and radiation. You are stronger than most people will ever have to be. Do not let anyone make you feel anything less than extraordinary. You came here wanting to work out, to feel normal again, and you deserved support, encouragement, celebration of your recovery. Instead, you were met with cruelty. That is not your fault, that is on him. Within 24 hours, Sarah's story went viral. A local reporter had covered the courtroom proceedings, and the community response was swift and overwhelming. Within a week, over 300 elite fitness members canceled their memberships in protest. Negative reviews flooded social media. Crowds gathered outside the gym, holding signs that read, "Cancer survivors welcome here, and scars are beautiful." Derek Vaughn attempted a public apology, but it was too little, too late. The Rhode Island Commission for Human Rights confirmed multiple violations of the Americans with Disabilities Act. Other cancer survivors came forward with similar experiences, creating a broader movement for accountability in fitness and wellness spaces. 3 months later, Elite Fitness Providence closed permanently. The facility was replaced by a new gym, Strength and Courage Fitness, run by a breast cancer survivor and designed explicitly to welcome people of all bodies, all abilities, and all stages of health and recovery. Sarah became a passionate advocate for cancer survivors' rights. She spoke at hospitals, support groups, and conferences, and she founded a nonprofit that provided free gym memberships to cancer patients and survivors who could not afford them. 2 years later, Sarah was healthy, strong, and cancer-free. She had completed a half marathon, something she never thought possible. Her scars had faded but remained visible, a permanent reminder of her fight. She saw them as Judge Caprio had, as medals of honor. Sarah had sent him a photo of her crossing the marathon finish line, arms raised triumphantly, scars proudly visible. On the back, she had written, "Thank you for reminding me that survival isn't something to hide, it's something to celebrate." The case became a landmark in disability rights law, cited in legal briefs and workplace training materials about ADA compliance and dignity in public accommodations. It reminded the world that businesses have a duty beyond profit, they have a duty to respect humanity. As for Derek Vaughn, he eventually completed the anti-discrimination training mandated by the court. Whether he truly learned anything remains unknown, but his gym's closure served as a powerful warning. Discrimination has consequences. Sarah walked into that courtroom feeling broken and humiliated. She walked out knowing that her scars told a story of survival, courage, and resilience. A story far more beautiful than any aesthetic standard could ever define. That is not just justice. That is the validation of human dignity.